Every single day, people take unwanted or unused items to thrift and antique stores across the country. But as the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and we're here to prove it. Identify valuable things before you throw them away. Join us as we show and tell of treasures found and sold by a full-time reseller with the hopes of helping you find some treasures of your own. Welcome to the What's Sold podcast.
Welcome back to the new and improved What's Old podcast.
Yes.
Or vodcast, depending on which way you look at it.
New and improved.
We are still doing a podcast. My good friend Matt, otherwise known as Rusty the Reseller.
Hey there.
We are still bringing to you the kind of thing that can't be found anywhere else in the world. It's like magic.
That's right.
This show is magic, and we are going to continue to do that. Today is our first show that's sort of YouTube focused, and it's actually a gripe show. This is what we're going to officially call a gripe show, because Matt had a run-in with, once again, the dark overlord eBay, and we know lots of people use eBay, and eBay can be a very good platform, but it also has some. There should be one of those documentaries.
It's like Mordor. It's like Sauron.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or like a Netflix documentary that look at the dark underbelly of eBay.
Yeah.
So, Matt, talk to me about your week. We signed off last week's episode 100 to much fanfare. I believe there was a parade in your town of Black Mountain.
Yeah.
A lot of like fireworks, a lot of good stuff. And so you went out into the world fresh, just leaping about, excited
cartwheels.
Cartwheels, backflips, cartwheels. And what happened to you with eBay?
Yeah, very quickly after our exciting 100th episode, during which and in previous episodes I sort of have outlined some experiences I've had with eBay. And in tandem with the fact that I'm noticing with my sales a drop in volume of sales, a drop in value of items is indicative of the broader economy cooling down. People are being a little bit hesitant to spend on extras right now, and that's affecting me. And then I got up last Thursday or Friday, I can't remember which day, but I get on my eBay, one of my eBay stores. I have 3, and I noticed that when I went to look at orders, because I was going to do fulfillment, I get up in the mornings, and one of the first things I do is, how many items
now, can I
interject
shipped? Here really quick?
Of course.
Before you go forward?
Yeah.
So I'm imagining because the show we recorded 100 on Wednesday, that there was a lot of fanfare and perhaps some adult libations.
There was
were
day and night feasting for several days.
And so when you got up on Thursday or Friday to look at this,
yes,
you were a little bit slow. You were feeling your cups, so to speak. And so this must have been like the cherry on top of the hangover sandwich. Am I close on that, Matt?
Yeah. I mean, all of the fanfare and just the ladies throwing themselves at me and just all the food.
Not talk to Flo about that.
No, I mean, listen, she knows what kind of catch I am, and we can't hardly go anywhere without somebody making a comment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, so I crawl down here in my PJs, with my. Anyways, I get on and I find that when I'm looking at my items, no longer does it say what it used to say, which what it has recently said is your funds will be released after 3 days of the item being delivered. That was a restriction that was put on my account 2 or 3 months ago. When I called about it, they said, "Oh, you've not done anything wrong. This is just something that the system does from time to time. It's just our way of making sure we're protecting buyers." Never really gave an explanation as to why they put it or what needed to happen for it to be released. They just say, keep your store in good standing and everything will change. There have been restrictions randomly placed on my accounts in the past, and one time it happened when I only had one store. And I also had a really expensive item, like a $5,000 item, that a person wanted to return. And when that happens, they freeze those funds. And, I'm a full-time reseller. I rely on steady income coming in to pay my bills. So when all of a sudden it's like, hey, this is going to be tied up until this case resolves. By the way, no money will be released to you until you sell that threshold of money again on here, ship it, and then it's available to you. So after that experience, I decided to open up a couple of other stores. That way, if there's ever a restriction on one store, I can pivot and then be selling stuff and adding stuff to a different store, right? That makes sense.
Sure.
Well, that was a big change. Used to, I'd get paid within a few days, 3 or 4 days of selling something. That restriction meant they're not going to release funds to me until at least 3 days after the item has been received by the buyer. So you think a week time auction, they take 2 days to pay. I ship the next day. It takes 2 to 3 days to get to them. And then 3 days after that is when they'll release the money to me. So I had to make some changes and prepare for, I'm 2 to 3 weeks out till I get paid on things. Well, this week when I gone on, now it doesn't say funds will be released after 3 days of arrival. It's just said funds on hold. Funds held. Not just on one store, all 3 of my stores. So I call, and it was a long conversation. Suffice it to say, this was what I was told. Yes, you have a restriction on your account. No, we will not tell you why it's on your account. It's on all of your accounts. And no longer can I see how long it's taking or when my item's even going to arrive. They're not sharing that information with me. And their reasoning for that was, I quote, because we don't want to give our sellers false hope that they'll be getting money at a certain day. So instead, we're just not going to give you any information at all. And they didn't give me any information about anything I did to punitively receive this restriction or anything that I can do to improve my store to have that lifted. It's now applied to all of my stores. I had just done about $3,000 in sales, like a day or two before that. Instead of, okay, I shipped this out today, and in about 5 to 6 days I'll get my money, what they're telling me now is that it could take up to a month or longer for them to pay me out. And also, some of these items, maybe all, they're now going to require the buyer to get into their system once they receive my item to indicate to them that they did receive it, that there's nothing wrong with the item before they'll issue me payment. I said, so you're requiring another action step by the buyers to release funds to me. What if they don't do that? Like, what if they just don't respond to you? Well, we'll give them some time, and if they don't, like, eventually we'll send you your money. It's essentially what they're saying to me. Now, imagine, folks, any other job you have out there, you have a set of tasks that you're supposed to complete. You go into work, you work all week long, and they say, we will pay you in some undefined time for the work you've done. It could be a month, but we're not going to tell you when, and we're not going to tell you why we're not paying you for so long. That's what this was like. It felt like I lost my job, kind of, because I was already having to project out 2 to 3 weeks. Now I have to project out a month or potentially longer before I get paid. So if I have something really valuable, like I shipped off 50 pounds of costume jewelry last week for $1,800, one transaction. I shipped that off. I was planning on getting that money the next week. I have bills coming up. I know when I owe the money for these bills.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get this money on Tuesday or Wednesday. After that phone call, it sounds like maybe a month now. So all of the stuff I just sold in the last 2 weeks, multiples of thousands of dollars worth of inventory that have already been purchased by buyers, I've already fulfilled and are out of my house. I don't know when I'm going to get paid for them. That's what I discovered. And having gone through things like this in the past, and now this was my realization. I've been working and selling on eBay's platform since 2000. So I have been selling on eBay for 25 years. I've been selling full-time on eBay for 6 years. But I don't feel as though eBay is a reliable business partner for me anymore. Plain and simple. They have so much control over my business that they can enact any kind of policy, it seems like, or restriction that they want to, without prior knowledge, without needing an explanation, without providing me any information. And that's just really difficult for me. There's already a lot of things I can't control that I try to work around in the system. But if that's going to happen, I'm sorry, eBay, I just can't do business with you like that anymore. So my response to that is the following. I've already got thousands of things for sale on eBay. I've already done the work to put them, list them, photograph them, make listings. I'm not pulling all of that stuff off and saying sayonara, but I'm not adding anything new. So as things sell and get out of there, I'm not replenishing them. I am going to pull some smaller things, some jewelry and stuff that I have another avenue to sell it on, and through other avenues, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But that was the big epiphany I had. And you and I have talked about this. I've talked about wanting to wean myself off, become less reliant on some of these platforms over time for multiple reasons, not least of which these things like I just described that I can't control, but I pay pretty high sales fees to these platforms to use their platform and so forth. So that is what I'm dealing with right now, like in real time.
Is there any legal recourse?
Yeah, possibly, but I think, okay, how long does it take me to find an attorney, go through this? How much is it going to cost to use the attorney? How long would this process go? Meanwhile, I still have bills happening. I still have to sell things that I have in my house that I've purchased or that I've taken on behalf of a consignee, and I have an obligation to sell that stuff within a period of time. I don't restrict myself to what means by which I sell things. I just had a lot of experience and success on eBay, so that's why I built it on there. There are other avenues, but there are pros and cons to those avenues. There's a reason why I primarily used eBay in the past, and now there's going to be a reason I'll primarily use something else moving forwards.
Well, it strikes me, have you ever heard of the term the float? Sound familiar to you?
The float.
Or a float?
I don't, give me an explanation of the context.
Think about it this way, yeah. So, sorry, that was a loaded question. So, ADP, Automatic Data Processing, is a huge HR company. They pay, I don't know, some massive amount of America's working, workers and international workers, their salaries. And how that works is the company, say I work for a company, they send the money to ADP, but they have to send it like 4 days before ADP pays it out. Now, ADP also charges a fee for sending the money out. But we're ADP on 2 days a month, I think the 15th and the 30th, is the fourth largest bank in the world. Because basically what they have is this money that's not having to be allocated out, but they can do, they can invest this in daily currency rates or whatever, right? So they have a huge investment wing within ADP. I'm imagining that eBay is similar.
Oh, I'm sure.
eBay's got a float. So basically, as long as they don't have to pay out, they're getting paid by the customer.
Yeah.
They've had that money for 30 days. All they're doing is using your money
to make
and
money.
Probably thousands of other people to make money.
They put on a restriction, and they're like, okay, it's going to be an extra week till we pay you. And they use my money for a week. And they're like, we made a lot of money this week. Let's make it 2 weeks. Hey, we made more money. Let's make it a month now. It's just kind of like they don't care. Well, as long as I'm willing to use the platform, they're going to make money on me. The only way they're not is if I say goodbye.
Yeah, and accountants are making these decisions, and C-suite people are making these decisions, and they're not. It strikes me a little bit as they're saying, hey, listen, where are you going to go? The idea in business is, do you have the ability to walk away from the table without a deal? And their attitude is simply, hey, we're the biggest, we're the 500-pound gorilla. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. But, oh, wait, there is nowhere else to go. So until you get this groundswell of people, sellers, and I imagine that the majority of people that are selling on eBay are not like you. I imagine that the vast overwhelming are like my brother who sell a little bit. So it's like, whatever. If I got to wait 30 more days, I'm retired. I'll get the money at some point. And so they're not stressed out about it. But eBay has, I've experienced it myself, but I've also seen it through multitudes of times where eBay has played basically underhanded. Now, I'm sure it's written into their legalese somewhere. So they would say, well, the buyer beware. You should have known all this. We had it well written. So they I guarantee they've got coverage. I guarantee they have plausible deniability. Like, well, it was well documented.
Yep.
But it doesn't. But there's a moral component to this too. That you're in business. There also, and we've talked about it a lot, is there's a moral component. It's like you're screwing this guy.
Yeah.
You are absolutely screwing this guy to make money off of the back of this guy. That's not. It's not. You can do it, right? Why does the dog lick itself? Because it can. I mean, you can do it, but it's not right. So, the problem with market forces in general is it's like it's like the Titanic and the iceberg. The time it takes to move that ship, to move enough people, they probably have this all figured out. Like, we can do this to enough people before it really starts to affect our bottom line, and then we'll shift back, right?
Yep.
So it does definitely behoove you to find other avenues to do the things that we're going to talk about. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the show. I would love to go and sue eBay and I guarantee there's some lawyer out there going, well, it's time for a class action lawsuit. And, it happens all the time. I mean, there are class action lawsuits against Verizon and all these other people because they do stuff like this, thinking, we're not going to get caught. And if we do, we're going to have made so much money that we can just, okay, we'll pay out X amount of dollars, but we already made all this money. So it's just it's the game of capitalism, and they're just playing it better.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know why it happened. You can't help but feel targeted a little bit when there's no explanation for why it's happening, and them being unwilling. By the way, this is not the person who made this decision to do this to my account is not the person I'm speaking with. The person I talk with
of course not.
is just a low-level customer service representative, and they hear my concern. They say, "Hey, do you mind if I put you on hold for a couple of minutes?" No problem. They are plugging in the situation into a system, and that system is giving them prompts of what to say to me. So this was not like off-the-cuff information. It was that they're limited on the information that they're allowed to say to me, and I don't even think they're limited. Like, I think they can say whatever is put in front of them, but beyond that, they can't say anything else. And so I'm not angry at, Tiffany or whoever it was that I was talking to.
Right.
They're just reading from a prompt. My issue is these underlying decisions and policies that they put in place. And when you go into these platforms and you agree to use their platform, you're essentially agreeing to everything on their 75-page policy document that you haven't read through or understand. And if you don't like anything on there, you just can't use their platform. But if you sign saying you're going to do that, then they can make those decisions, and I don't have any recourse really, other than to 100%. Say, I'm going to take my business elsewhere, which is what brings us to the next piece, which is, what am I going to do about this?
Yeah, well, so Matt, what are you going to do about this?
I'm so glad you asked. I would love to share.
You can't leave a bag of burning dog poop on eBay's doorstep. I mean, that would be seemingly the best thing to do.
I could do that. I would probably get sued by eBay, but
yeah. Well,
what I'm going to do,
proverbial bag of dog
proverbial.
Poop.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of just sharing this in general is maybe sort of doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Symbolically, but what I'm going to do is I am taking steps and efforts now to build my own website where I can have standalone things for sale at any given time, like a Shopify account or something like that. The challenge with doing that is simply how do you let people know that you exist and that you can come to my website and buy things from me. So there's going to be this whole marketing component that I haven't really figured out what the best plan is, and that's a fluid thing. I got to make changes over time, try something, see if it works. If not, move to something else. But in the short term, I'm actually going to be starting to use a platform called Whatnot, which is a sales platform. So imagine if YouTube and eBay had a child together.
Oh, no.
And that child looks very much like the old QVC commercials or show, right? Where you had a person standing, they're talking, they're a host sort of, and then they're zooming in on a product. Let's call it jewelry. Oh, this is ring. It's a sterling silver ring with cubic zirconia. Right now, if you buy in the next 2 hours, it's $24.99. This is a $99.99 value, that kind of thing. And people think, oh man, that's such a good deal. I don't even need that ring. It's not even my size, but shoot, it's beautiful, and I'm sure it's worth more, so I'll buy it. And then there are some people who are like, I need that. I'm going to buy that as a gift for somebody, whatever else. The idea is it's a live auction. So Whatnot is a platform that you can use on a desktop or on a phone. It has its own app. And the way it's set up is you're running a live auction. So instead of a timed auction on eBay where you have photographs of an item that a person can search for, they find yours, and you have it set up as a 5, 7, 10-day auction. They can bid, but they have to wait until the end of that time period to purchase it, and then they have to wait till it's shipped to you. With Whatnot, you can set up, I think it's a different amount of time, but most of what I'm seeing is 10 or 15 seconds. So I'm holding up a costume, a vintage brooch with rhinestones, red and blue rhinestones, and I'm showing it. I click a button on my laptop and it starts a 15-second auction. Anybody who's in there watching this and has a thing set up where they can purchase things can bid on that. If it gets a bid within the last 3 to 5 seconds, it goes back 5 seconds. And it will keep doing that until the bidding is done. You can start the bidding as low or as high as you want. You can be doing different bid numbers for different items. And again, ideally you're doing something within a specific category. Like this one sale is all vintage and antique jewelry. This sale is all sports cards, baseball cards or basketball cards. This one is whatever else it is that you're selling. And so that can be very successful in the sense that I can sit for 2 hours. I can do an auction for 100 things. Maybe 90 of those 100 things sell. As soon as it sells, that person's system has their banking or their purchasing information in there. It automatically pays for that item, and then I have to ship those items within 2 days. I have 2 days. So conceivably, the comparison here is that I have 100 items, and I want to sell them. If I use eBay, I have to research 100 things. I have to photograph photographs of 100 items. I have to create listings for those things, make them go live either as an auction or as a buy it now. The shortest auction, I think, is 3 days on eBay. The time of day, the day that you list it, matters because you want it to end at the time, ideally, for when people are off work or available. You want more people available to bid. So you got to do a strategy there. But it could sell. It could not sell. You might have to do several auctions or put it as a buy it now. It might take 6 months. But with Whatnot, I can sell these in 2 hours' time. By the time that show is done, everything that sold has been paid for. Then that same day, potentially, or the next day, all I have to do, I have all of these items now in little bags with numbers. I just get onto the part of my account that shows all of the order numbers and who to ship them to. They've already paid shipping. I click a button, print a label, put it in a bubble mailer. I'm done. I can run a sale, sell 100 things, fulfill that order in the same day. And if I wanted to run a sale every day, if I had enough inventory, I could rinse and repeat that every single day. I'm going to get started. I was going to try to start today with it, but I'm having issues with storage on my laptop and some technical stuff I've got to sort through, so I'm going to push that to Friday. But Friday, I'm going to do my first one. If it goes well, I'm going to run 2 next week. But I need to get into it and get some experience doing it, find out, the most efficient way, what's the best way to price, how long does it actually take to fulfill those orders. That's going to be coming. And that's going to be my stopgap in the short term, selling things, getting this stuff sold, getting it shipped, get the money in quicker, and I'm not having to wait weeks or months on eBay to pay me out.
So do they have the same type of policies that eBay has in terms of, like, one of the things I always had a problem with is how easy it was for buyers to kind of scam the seller.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that policy? What does that look like on Whatnot?
To be honest with you, I'm not fully aware of the extent of their return policies or what kind of support they offer when there's a conflict between a buyer and a seller. But most people I'm seeing that do this regularly don't really have issues. They show this thing, they say, I'm selling it as is. I think the big tip is if there's any blemishes or damage or condition issues with an item, that you highlight that. You make sure people know what they're getting. I think the biggest issue you can run into is one of two things. Either you sell something without disclosing damage or something, and they receive it, and it's not in the condition they thought it was, or some sort of mix-up with shipping, where if you're doing 100, 200, 300 items, that can become a little bit more complicated with making sure that the right item's getting to the right person. Mm-hmm. I think there are ways to set stuff up to where that doesn't happen. But provided you do ship it within the 2 days, and they receive the item they think they're getting, they're going to click to say it was received, it's what I thought it was, thank you, they rate you, and then you maintain a rating kind of like eBay has a rating for you, a percentage rating, but I think it's just like a 1 to 5. So like a 5-star store is one that is always meeting that criteria, shipping it when they need to, and their customers are generally satisfied. There are some other metrics which I can't really look at yet for me because I have a store that's never had a sale. So once I do that and start shipping some stuff out, I will learn very quickly the expectations of the buyers, what they're wanting, and trying to do my best to accommodate, a problem-free interaction and sale.
Well, I will tell you that my advice to you is simply that you need to be rusty when you do these auctions, and you need to do it like an old time. When I was a kid, we used to go to the farm auction. Because that's what you do when you're raised in small towns. You go to the farm auction.
Nice.
Because there were 25-cent ice cream cones. It was great.
Yeah.
And there was always the callers. Hey, how much? I think you need to be that guy. You need to really get out there and be rusty and push like you're selling the prize hog.
I think
that's
they
what
say
you're
you want to be an entertaining person. You want to talk and keep people in because it's one of those social media platforms, and social media.
Yeah.
One of the major detriments of mass usage of that is that it has caused people's attention spans to drop significantly. So they say that the amount of time people are in these shops is 10 minutes or less. So the people who when I start doing the sale, the 15, 20 people or whoever it is that come in, are not going to be the same 15, 20 people when it's over. People are coming and going constantly. And so you need to not have dead air spots. You need to be talking, communicating. If a person says something or asks a question, look at it, make some comments here and there. I hear a lot of people say have a little bit of music on, not too loud, but some music on, so there's something in the background. So there's always something auditory, visual, auditory going on. It's going to be set up looking at a host of jewelry. My first one's going to be vintage and antique jewelry. So I'm just going to be like talking about it, pulling one piece up at a time. I'll do a couple of brooches. Now I'm going to do a bracelet. Here's a necklace. Okay, I'm going to do a couple pendants. Back to brooches again. And I kind of mix it up, but it's all in that same category. People who are interested in that type of stuff will want to see the varieties of things. And they might say, hey, what's that red one over there? Or what's this green necklace there? I'm interested in that. And if you want, you can, it will take me a while. People will have to be patient with me in the beginning as I learn. But if I can pay attention to that, I can say, oh, yeah, Judy, whatever, let me grab that. I'll do this one next. And then you pull it up. I see some of them some of them have it all set up ahead of time. Like everyone knows these pictures ahead of time, what's there, and they can pre-bid or whatever. A lot of other ones will just say, hey, this is an unboxing. You get on there, they've not even, supposedly not even sorted through it. It's just like a box of twisted jewelry there, and people enjoy, kind of like watching the jewelry playlists that I have of over 50 some videos of just about jewelry in the Rusty channel. It's like they're getting entertainment at the same time that they're able to purchase things. So it's like me running a YouTube video, but the difference is they can interact with me in real time and purchase that directly from me. And that's why I like it. Another reason I like it is that I can now bring what I'm doing to my YouTube audience and say, hey, this is the stuff. I can make a video on a Tuesday and say this exact stuff will be for sale in my Whatnot store this Thursday. If you like it, if you want to come and buy something. You don't have to buy anything. If you want to just come and interact and hear about it and see the kind of stuff I'm doing, do that as well. And I'm hoping that I can bring people who would have wanted to be customers of mine already and give them an opportunity to do that. And vice versa, people who are in the world of buying this kind of stuff, I want them to be aware that I produce and create educational content on YouTube free of charge in these niches, in the world of buying and selling, specifically in jewelry or coins or things like that. And I'm hopeful, fingers crossed, that what was kind of a bad situation that I'm trying to wiggle my way through will translate to a more successful business for me and potentially more viewership on the content that I'm creating, which the more I get, the more means and ability and time I have to make even more of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be exciting because there's some cool stuff. There's this software called OBS, which is it allows you to stream to all sorts of different
That's
platforms.
exactly what they
Reddit.
use for Whatnot.
OBS?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's one of the things I got in today. I was trying to, I didn't realize, I thought you could just do it through their system, but no, before you do a live show, you have to download OBS and get the settings right.
Yeah.
So I tried to do that, and then my laptop says, well, there's not enough space on your laptop No, it says you needed an updated operating system because I have such an old operating system on my laptop. So I'm like, okay, I need to get the new. Oh, there's not enough space on your computer for that. So it's like every step I take is another thing that I have to resolve. So I'm trying to work through that stuff and get myself set up. If I'm able to do it quick enough today, I'll run a sale today. If not, it's more likely going to be on Friday. But that'll give me a good time, a weekend to kind of look at it, think through the good and bad of what I was able to do on that show, and then hopefully make adjustments and do a better show or two the next week.
Absolutely. Well, I think that, and I hope that you have a special segment for creepy doll faces or creepy dolls like the one that's been staring at me in the background for the last 3 shows.
Yeah.
I think that would be, you're going to get an audience on there. They might be 15-year-old Wednesday fans, but the creepy doll head,
I guarantee you, if I made a Whatnot show and I said, all I'm selling this time is creepy doll heads, and I had some sort of funny, Halloween-looking image on there, I guarantee I'd get people on there, not even just out of how bizarre that type of a sale is. I don't have enough to run. Well, I gotta source the inventory. That's the other thing that I've yet to figure out is, if I'm going to be selling this volume of inventory that quick, 100, 200 things a week, then I have to accelerate my ability to source and replenish my inventory. Because on eBay, I'm doing about 100, sales in a week. Not 100 in a day, Oh, and again, I have 3 to 4 days before I'm required to ship with an eBay, whereas the system requires it to be faster. So I'm going to have to find places where I can source pounds, of jewelry if I want to do jewelry sales, for example. I have plenty of inventory here to do a month's worth of sales if I do 2 sales a week. I've got enough inventory without having to replenish it. So I've got time to think on that, but I do want to stick with smaller items for this type of sale because shipping is cheap and easy. All I ever need is these little plastic bags and a bubble mailer. That's all I need. I can have that on stock at all times. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to have a day or two a week where I'm like, well, I sold this strange shaped or size item that I need a specialty box for, and now part of my day is running around to find that box. You got to buy it, that kind of thing. And so there are ways that this will make my business more efficient, where I'm going to cut out some time doing certain tasks that don't really translate much to the sale itself. It's just like extra work that has to happen to make that fulfilled.
Yeah. Well, I think that I'm sitting there thinking to myself, holy cow, it's like a whole new paradigm shift for the.
I mean, today's Wednesday, right? And I did that. I mean, that happened to me on Friday. So in 5 days' time, I had to make the decision of what I'm going to do. I had to find this other platform, fully immerse myself in it, learn about how to use it, what technology and equipment is needed. I have to, set up the inventory. I have to start marketing it and then get all of my equipment prepped and ready to actually operate this. I've done that all in 5 days, and I'm about to start doing this. So, it took me a lot longer to learn how to operate eBay than that. But again, tough times. Like I've got to pivot. I've got to make these moves.
Well, I'm excited to be on the journey with you. This is going to be fun to watch how this grows, and I'm so hopeful that we can wave goodbye to eBay and see it disappear in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I know it's going to be a process, but that is all the time we have for today. I encourage all of you to stay tuned to what's going on, because we're going to, in real time, be updating you on what's going on and how Matt and Rusty do. So we will be producing a whole lot more video content, so that you are the person that's getting this stuff on YouTube. You're going to have plenty of things to be able to watch and do. So let's get excited out there and
get excited. I mean, and with this, I don't know exactly when this video will drop, but whenever it does, we will put a link in that video and also the subsequent Rusty videos where you can find the store, my store, where you can find specific shows where I'm going to run sales. And once my website's created, so that you can come to that website and just take a look and see. Yeah. It also tells more about other services that I provide, like appraisals or art restoration or other things that I do kind of on the side. So we're going to have that stuff, and we'll see where it goes. And I'm also interested for people who've used this platform before or have some tips. Feel free to reach out to us and tell me what you think. If you've had experience, what that's been, any tips you have for me, because I'm fresh and green when it comes to this Whatnot platform. I think it's a nifty little thing. It may or may not be for you, but maybe check it out. And if you do come by one of the sales, make sure you say on there where you found me from, because I'd love to. That helps me know, how are people hearing about. Are they just organically, randomly coming to me, or are they actually a viewer? That sort of thing.
Well, it's going to be a fun ride. I'm excited to see where it goes, but otherwise, we'll be back with a brand new show next week. Look for us on all the places where you find podcasts and vodcasts. We're excited to continue to bring you good content. But otherwise, that is it. Have a great week, and we'll talk with you soon.